people, you know, I mean, it's a cough, it'll pass, you know. And so I got really turned off. And then Jesus to me, sure, I'd heard his name and all that. I didn't believe in him. But Jesus was as real to me, and I say this with pain in my heart, because Jesus was as real to me as he is, sadly, today to most teenagers. Jesus was as real to me as the Easter Bunny or Santa Claus or the Tooth Fairy, okay? He wasn't real. He wasn't historical. He was mythological. He was something that society created to fill a need to get a day off of work, basically. Everybody in America loves to be a Christian on December 25th, right? Because you get a day off of work, and you bring out ornaments, and you give presents and everything. But then, after the festivities, you put all the little decorations back in the closet, and you get on with reality. That's what I thought of Christianity as I was growing up. And it was basically affirmed to me in the secular education system. Okay? Me and all my generation. Me and my generation are the fruit of the hippie generation in the United States, the progeny of the sexual revolution, and the fight against the machine and the institution, and we'll do what we want because we've got rights, right? I'm the fruit. Me and my generation, people my age, are the fruit of the hippies. And so when I grew up, all their ideals and everything became encapsulated in the media with all of its new technologies, in the music with all that it could do, and now you could not just hear music, you could see music. The MTV generation, music became visual. And growing up in that, the textbooks got changed in radical ways to promote what was being propagated by, you know, that era that my parents grew up in and fought for and did all kinds of rallies for and so forth. And basically it was this. In the school system, me and all my friends learned this. We're not the center of the cosmos. You're not anything special, so get over yourself. This is just a cosmic rock going at Mach speed nowhere that came together over some fortuitous chance event over gazillions of years. Cosmic goo came together and formed you, and what are you? You're a monkey. You're a monkey, so get over yourself. You can make your own rules about things. Live by things that feel good, pleasurable things. And so the animal that I was told I was, and we had all the graphs in the book and so forth, the animal I was told that I was, I became. And I'm not making this up. Almost every single kid I grew up with became an animal, living like a beast. Because we were being exposed to things that seemed and were pleasurable. Right? I'm not going to get graphic because there's young people here, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. I know your country suffers from it because the whole Western civilization suffers from it. Pornography. Numero uno among the sins of men. It has saturated everywhere, and it's just a mouse click away now. It's in your house. It's everywhere. And it is corrupting the hearts of men at such a rate, it's unbelievable. And even if you're not intentionally looking for it, you can't help but see it. I've only been here since this morning, and I've seen it on billboards, the sides of buses, on advertisements. It's everywhere. And it's corrupting. But see, this is what people fought for, to have rights, to be able to do whatever you want to do. And so as I was growing up, me and all my friends were exposed to this stuff, and we were actually given things by our teachers telling us, when you do these things, when you experiment, when you find your orientation in life, here, use this. Be safe. You know what I'm alluding to. See, all my friends were exposed to this, and almost all of us gave into it. We didn't know any better. These are the people teaching us. It's in the books. These are the people with the PhDs. And so I went down that path, and at that time I was living in Southern California, and my life went down the tubes. I wouldn't have seen it that way. I'm speaking in retrospect. I started smoking weed when I was 11, pot, marijuana. I started drinking when I was 11. I started looking at, you know, filthy things, right? Not a beauty that will help me to form a manhood out of me, right? To be virtuous, which is the root of manhood. Not something that would help me to grow, to be honorable, and to treat women with respect, but, you know, things that my eyes would be exposed to, my emotions, my psyche, my desires, whether I was awake or asleep, it polluted me. And I became its victim. I became its slave. How many in our times have fallen into this? A lot. And I was only 11, 12 years old when this stuff was going on. And so as a family now, dad number 3, he was a military officer, and this explains why we moved so much. We moved out of the country of the United States, where he got another assignment in Japan. I didn't want to go to Japan. I loved Southern California. It's where my passion for surfing came, and all that. But I had to go, and I went. And when I got to Japan, I freaked out. And I started doing crazy things, to the degree of I got involved in a criminal organization called the Yakuza. You know what that is, the Yakuza? Okay, anybody know what that is? No, it's the Japanese mafia, okay? So when you're fully initiated, you get the top half of your pinky cut off. Okay, I was 15 years old, little Caucasian kid, growing his hair long, hanging out with these people and running money to different casinos. I ran away in the country of Japan on the main island of Honshu, and I caused an international scene. A lot of times in the United States, you hear about military personnel doing stupid stuff at a bar one night. A bunch of sailors get wasted and go out and do something stupid. Well, here I was, a 15-year-old military dependent, the son of a military officer who was causing an international scene. In the Far East military news at the time, you would have actually heard about me. Even today, if you go and put my name in a Google search without father, okay, yeah, you'll find stuff that was, back then you didn't have all that stuff, but now a lot of that, the news is being put on the internet. And so I was being tracked down in the country of Japan because I was running with this criminal organization, and I was doing serious criminal activity. Oh my gosh, you have no idea the things that I was doing. And during that whole process, and I'm saying this at Mach speed, so I apologize, I only have 45 minutes, but it's all in the book if you want to get the whole thing. During that whole process, my mom is having a crisis. My dad number 3, is having a crisis. As a matter of fact, he never got promoted in the United States Navy again because of me. He had to retire early and take a reduced pension because of me. Did I care? I didn't care. I was self-absorbed. I worshiped the unholy Trinity, basically. Me, myself, and I. It was all about me, right? Everything I wanted that felt good, give it to me now, right? I was formed in a generation of instantaneous pleasure. I want it now. If I press a button, I want results now. Why? Because we've been formed in our times that you want food, you want dinner, you put it in a little box, put it in 3 minutes, bang. You want to call somebody on the other side of the world, punch in 11 digits, what's up, right? Now. And so that's how my generation's been formed. Anything that gets in the way of the immediate gratification of the moment, get out of the way. Eliminate it, annihilate it. And so I would have been right there back in my time thinking, sure, if a woman gets pregnant, that's simply tissue. Get it out of the way, discard it, because that's going to eliminate any possibility that she can have in the future for fun. That's how I thought. And that's how most of my friends thought. So as I was being tracked down in Japan, I didn't know this, but my mother had a huge conversion. My mom is 100% Italian, okay? How she wasn't Catholic is pretty funky, okay? Most people with Italian heritage, you got Catholicism in there somewhere. Well, we had it, but it was way back in the back. And when they came over to America from southern Italy, they kind of checked 2 things at the gate. Italian, so I never learned Italian, which is probably a good thing, because I would have totally worked that with the ladies, right? And the second thing was Catholicism. They didn't pass on Catholicism, so I didn't have any knowledge of it. Well, my mom, in Japan, just like here I've noticed, it's amazing to me. I travel the world. I've gone to northern Alaska, and guess what is everywhere? And I say this with no disrespect, but with absolute honor and awe, actually, because I love these people. There are Filipino people everywhere, okay? They're like the special forces of God. Really. And I say this because in Japan, there was a whole bunch of Filipino women who had married American GIs, and so you got Filipino women over there who are like super Catholic. I mean, super Catholic. One thing you don't mess around in life with is a Catholic Filipino woman. They're intense. So my mom is going through a crisis, but I didn't know. I was out running with the mafia. My mom meets a Filipino Catholic woman in Japan, and this Filipino woman says to my mother, and I don't mean this with any respect, I love Filipino people, But this Filipino woman said to my mother, I know what you got to do. You got to talk to father, right? You got to talk to father, right? The THs kind of come out as Ds, when they're trying to work it, at least in American English. I don't know what y'all do over here, right? So my mom's like, why do I have to talk to father? So she's like, because he's got the answer to your problems. So my mom goes and talks to a military chaplain on the military base over there, and this priest changed my mom's life. He told my mom about Catholicism, right? The truth of Catholicism, about the Eucharist, the Blessed Virgin Mary, the sacraments, confession, rosary, devotions, the saints, the papacy, right? The meat of Catholicism. My mom fell in love with it. I didn't know any of that. I wouldn't have cared at the time. My mother had to leave the country with my half-brother while they tracked me down. So eventually I was apprehended. I was thrown in the brig, the military kind of holding cell. I escaped, was found hiding in a sewer